Okay, I'm going to show you how I start to mix my dough. So this, I fed this starter last night, so when I mixed it, it was about to here. So you want it to rise about double is fine. And you can see it's very bubbly rising. So I use a kitchen scale, easiest, and we measure in grams. So the basic recipe that I use is 450 grams of bread flour, almost there, and I can just fit it in this bowl, so that's what I use, but you could use something a little bigger than mine. And 50 grams of wheat flour, and this is a little bit, since it's such a small amount, I usually just scoop it in there. Grams. Okay, and then you want, oh, I have to get a measuring. Can you grab the glass measuring cup? I forgot that. Not that, the small one. Thank you. So you need 350 grams of water, non-chlorinated water, and about room temperature to a little warmer. Our house is pretty cold, so I usually heat it up just a little bit on the stove. You don't want it hot, it's just a little bit more than room temperature. You want to be as precise as you can, like a science experiment. 349. Okay, 350. And then you want 100 grams of your fed starter. Very happy. About 93. Get a little bit more. Okay, 100. Okay, so then once you have that in your bowl and you have your water ready, you can use something to stir this. I like to do this part with my hand because then I can feel if there are any big clumps, and then I get it, all the clumps kind of broken out. And it looks kind of soapy, bubbly. I usually, can you grab a towel, Ryan? I usually have a paper towel over here too, so that I can. Okay, so once you've done that, then you add your bread flour and your wheat flour. And this used to be the worst part of making sourdough for me, is I used to mix it with my hand, and it was disgusting to me because it really sticks. So I bought this Danish dough hook, which is amazing, and I think less than $15 on Amazon. I highly recommend. So you kind of hold it upright like this and start from the middle and just, but it's great because it comes, once you're done mixing your dough, you can just easily get all the excess pieces off of the metal very easily, a lot more easily than trying to get it off of your hands. So this is gonna be pretty sticky, and once I'm done mixing this, I'm going to just get a slightly damp towel and lay it over it, and this will sit for 30 minutes. And then after 30 minutes, I'm going to add 25 more grams of water and 12 grams of salt. And it will be less sticky by that time, which is very interesting. I'll show you that too. Okay, so that's pretty mixed. And then this is nice because it just kind of come off and get off your hands pretty easily, rather than having it totally cover your hands. Another thing to note is just be careful when you're washing your hands. I usually use a paper towel or something. You don't want a lot of this dough, or much at all, to go down your drain, because it will eventually, it can clog your pipes, so that'd be pretty sad. Okay. Okay, so this was the towel I was referring to about putting a damp towel over this. This has been sitting now for 30 minutes, and I've already measured out my salt. This is 12 grams of salt, and I use Redmond's real salt. I used it the first time I made a loaf, and it was great. So I've actually never tried a different kind. I know that you can use other kinds, but I really like this. So you just sprinkle this on top, the 12 grams of flour, and then in here I have 25 more grams of water. That will just help you to mix the salt in. So I just kind of fold it in like this. Doesn't make the most amazing sounds, but the whole process of when you start to mix the dough until you're ready to let it sit and rise is 2.5 hours. So you have 30 minutes in between each step. The first step is mixing the dough. The second step is adding the salt and a little more water. And then you're gonna do 4 sets of stretch and fold, which I will also show you. Okay, once it's smooth, looks pretty mixed in. You could feel if there was still a lot of the salt granules. They feel mixed in to me, so I will let that sit. Again with the damp towel, 30 minutes.